YouTube, my name is Courtney, welcome to my channel. That was not nearly as calming and romantic as I wanted it to be because when you light a match in this house, the fire alarm tends to go off, so I just got really startled and I am not calm at all. Happy Valentine's Day! I wanted to do a different video today, but it's taking me a little bit more time to get prepared for that video than I expected, and so I'm here doing another top 5, and I was actually really excited about this top 5. I just wasn't expecting to do it today, but it is fitting. In my opinion, it is fitting. So that top 5 is... I had my list open to butt stuff. That's not happening today. That's gonna be on another day. Today I am actually doing a different list, and that is fake relationships or romances that feature a fake relationship. This is a trope that I particularly love because I love seeing characters struggle with their feelings when they're pretending to feel a certain thing, but then on the inside they're like really feeling that certain thing. I love that. I love it in movies, I love it in books, and so I'm giving you guys 5 fake relationship romance books that vibed with me. The first book that I have on this list, and again, as always, I'm going to try and make this video short and sweet. That is probably not going to happen because I talk so damn much, but we're gonna try, okay? I don't want to hold up you guys any more than I have to on Valentine's Day, because whether you are loving on somebody else or if you're loving on yourself or your dog or whatever, I want you to have a great Valentine's Day, and I'm just a ball of crazy, so I might not be the most romantic thing to listen to on this lovey-dovey day, but hopefully these books will get you in the mood. So anyways, we're gonna get into it. I cannot believe it's Valentine's Day, by the way, you guys. I must be like blind to all the Valentine's Day stuff at stores because I'm just not noticing like the pink hearts and all of that stuff. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe my life is so filled with love and romance that I don't notice the day where it's actually celebrated. I celebrate it every day. Stop me from talking. Okay, so the first book on this list, and actually I read this so long ago, and I think this is actually the book that got me turned on to fake relationships in romance books. And funny story, when I read this book, I am typically not somebody that reads contemporary romance. I am very much like a fantasy or sci-fi romance kind of girl. And when, I mean, I do read kind of a lot of, not a lot, but I do read contemporary romance now because I found a few that I really liked, so I was like, hey, I like contemporary romance if it's good. But when I read this book, I was kind of strictly fantasy romance. And in fact, I was very, very much in my shifter romance era. Okay, so when I saw the cover of this book was actually suggested to me by Amazon. I was just surfing, or Goodreads, I can't remember, but I was just surfing and it was recommended to me, which, you know, with today's AI and all that crap, I kind of expect books to be recommended to me only if it's similar to what I've already read. This book, and I'm gonna give you the title, okay? This book is called Quinn by Doyle, and it is a standalone as far as I know. And the cover, which will be here somewhere, the cover has a sexy, you know, your typical romance novel, man, abs, no face, just objectified man body, right? And he has this like, these like scratches on his chest. Now, when I saw the cover of that book, I was like, werewolf. He's a werewolf. He's got scratches on him, though, that he's, you know, it's a shifter romance, because that's, Amazon wouldn't recommend anything to me that wasn't shifter romance, right? Wrong. This is completely a contemporary romance having to do, I believe it is high school. I read it maybe like 6-7 years ago, and yeah, so basically the fake relationship comes in when you have Kinsley, who is from a different school, and something happened along the lines of SA. Like I said, I read this so long ago. I just know that it was a situation where she ended up being moved out of the school, moved to a different school, and she actually got a fairly bad reputation for falsely accusing somebody, I think. She really doesn't have any friends here. She very much is like, I want to keep my head down and just get through school, and that's it. And then you have Quinn. who is a guy who very much enjoys fighting. I can't remember why he enjoys fighting, but it is obviously something to do with his past. He gets a lot of his emotions out when he is fighting, and I mean like bare knuckle fighting, like outside of school. Like he comes in with bruises and cuts on his face kind of on the regular. He's a guy you don't mess with. But all the ladies really want him because he's the school baddie and he's super hot. And he notices Quinn. He notices that she is trying so hard to stay under the radar, and he just really doesn't want all this attention from all these girls in school. He's one of those dudes, like cool dudes that like so much attention, but he doesn't really care about any of these women. He finds out that she is kind of getting bullied in school, and he decides to put forth a proposal and says, why don't we pretend to date so that the girls leave me alone? And which it's high school, that really wouldn't work, but it worked for this story. The girls will leave me alone because they think I'm dating you, and people will leave you alone because you're dating the most badass guy in school. Nobody messes with me. And she's like, she's very reluctant, but eventually agrees. And they start doing the typical fake relationship thing where they're like, we should probably hold hands so that people really believe we're together. Or we should probably kiss so people really believe we're together. And it starts to get real. Eventually, everything starts to become more and more real, and these two actually fall in love. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. At least I remember, from what I remember, I really enjoyed it. Even if I can't recall a lot of the story, I just remember that I really enjoyed the book, and that is why it is on my top 5. It is not a shifter romance, and those scratches that he has on his chest, I am pretty sure is just a tattoo. I got through about 90% of this book when I finally realized he was not going to turn into a wolf. But I still enjoyed the book, and I think that you will too if you're into contemporary romance like that. So check it out. The next book on this list, that was so long-winded, and I apologize. I warned you. I told you this would happen. When She's Married, which is number 2 in the Risdaverse series by Ruby Dixon. All of these books are standalones. They're all alien romance, and they are thoroughly enjoyable most of the time. I like reading them. I like that it's low commitment. Most of the time, there are a few long ones in this series, but I mean low commitment because it's not a series that you have to read in order, and you can read whatever book you want depending on like if those characters vibe with you when you read the synopsis. But anyways, When She's Married is a story between Vortigaunt and Piper. So in the Risdaverse series, Risda is a planet that is basically full of refugees. So humans often get kidnapped from Earth and sold into slavery on different planets by different aliens. And when they are rescued once in a while by a good-hearted alien, usually the Masaka, which are the big blue guys with horns, when they are rescued, they're usually put on Risda where they can kind of have their own farm and make their own life. They're not returned to Earth because Earth doesn't know that aliens exist, and flying a spaceship into their atmosphere and dropping people off will just blow their minds so much, so they just don't do it. It's just not a thing that they do. If humans are rescued, they are put on another alien planet and kind of forced to live out their lives on their own. And our girl, Piper, has a farm like most of the people on this planet, and she's having trouble managing it, I think. Something like that. She needs to get married, and I don't remember if it's for protection or if it's for something else, but she needs to get married to qualify for some, I can't remember. She needs to get married. That is the main premise of this book. She needs to get married to a big strong man. I think Vortigaunt is like a convict and he needs to get married in order to basically make all of his crimes and stuff go away. So these two meet somehow, and they agree to marry each other for their individual benefits. And as you might have guessed, they start to fall in love. The next one on the list is Don't Kiss the Bride, and this is another contemporary romance. And this is actually an author that turned me towards contemporary romance. And it's by Carian, and it is a standalone. Most of our books can be read together because they're all involving characters that are intertwined in like this world, but it doesn't have to be read with the other books. It can be completely read on its own. So you have Skylar, who is 18. Thank you for making her 18. I'm a big fan of age gap, but they have to at least be of age, please. So she is still in high school, but she is an adult. She is 18. She has a lot of issues at home, okay? And this was so interesting to me because this is something that I feel like no author has really, well, I'm sure there's other authors that have brought it up, but I just feel like it's not something that people really consider as a problem. But her mother is a hoarder. And so it's very difficult. Her home life is very difficult. She has an eating disorder because her mom is a hoarder, and she has memories of eating food that was, when she was young, she has memories of eating food because her mother would hoard everything, including food, and food would go bad, and she has memories of eating some of that bad food and getting very sick. So now as an adult, she has an eating disorder, and it's very hard for her to keep a lot of food down. So she has problems eating almost everything. Like texture is a really big thing for her. But anyways, she has issues, okay? She's trying to make it through life, but she needs help. And this guy, Jude, is, I believe, in his 30s. He is a construction worker. Big, tattooed, bearded, longish hair, like pretty much everything I like in a man. That's kind of why I read Carian Cole's books, because I just, these men are men. But anyways, he kind of sees her having car issues, I believe, near one of his construction sites where he is doing repairs or something. He sees her having car issues, very innocently goes over there and is like, do you need a ride? And again, very innocent. He even questions it. He's like, she is in high school. It might be weird for me to help her, but she needs help. In helping her, he starts to find out a lot more about her and about her issues. And she kind of like is very closed off about it. But long story short, he finds out that she really needs help. And she has some medical issues because of her eating disorders that she can't really get resolved because she doesn't have insurance and she doesn't have the money, and her mom won't help her. Her father is not in the picture. I can't remember why. So Jude comes up with a crazy plan and says, I have a very successful business. I have health insurance. If we get married, you'll have health insurance and you'll be able to get all these things sorted out. So they agree to get married, and it is called Don't Kiss the Bride because they agree that it's completely platonic, then that kissing each other will make it not. So they agree not to have that physical contact. And they kind of more or less hide their relationship even from people they know because they don't want people asking questions. He actually moves her in with him at some point because he finds out what her home situation is. I mean, it's so bad that she actually has to like climb in her bedroom window to get to her bedroom, and then her door is just like completely locked up. Like her mom cannot get into her room because, in her words, she will find the space in her room, her like safe space, and she will fill it with things, and she will not be able to, I mean, if you've ever seen the show about hoarders, I think it's just called Hoarders or something like that, you will understand how bad hoarding can get. So anyways, she moves in with him, and as you might have guessed, their relationship starts to develop in a certain way, and it's really sweet, and I loved it, and I adore them. And thank you, Carian Cole, for making age gap relationships that are actually, I can actually stomach, as in everybody's an adult. The last one, oh no, not the last one. Fuck. I'm so bad at this. The fourth one on the list is Until the Stars Fall by Vanessa Rasanen, and this is a actual fantasy romance, and this features Layla, who is a human in a fairy court, and she's kind of grown up there, and she has a huge crush. No, not a crush. Nay, she has feelings. She thinks she is in love with the crown prince. Not the crown prince. Shit, I can't remember if he's the crown prince or if he is just a prince. I believe he's just a prince. I believe the crown prince is his older brother. Crown prince is what you say when they're like the next in line in succession, right? I don't remember. I don't know. I may be completely wrong. Anyway, she loves the younger of the two brothers, of the two royal princes. And they kind of sneak off now and then. They grew up together, and it's very forbidden because she's just a human maid in the castle. It takes place over quite a long period of time. I think she actually leaves the kingdom for a while to take like self-defense classes because being human is dangerous. And then she comes home and she's like, I am a new woman and I'm going to profess my love for the prince. And then things really don't go as planned. Through a series of unfortunate events, she ends up doing something that is very against the laws. Something very, very bad to defend herself. Because being a human in this world is a little bit dangerous. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of political shit and rebellion and things going on that makes being human difficult. She does end up doing something in defense of her life, and that earns her a death sentence. Now, the prince's older brother, Connor, who is next in line to take the throne, is the responsible one, so his younger brother, the one that she is totally in love with, he's very much like the playboy, the one that kind of sneaks around, breaks the rules, doesn't really listen to anybody. And Connor is the one that kind of has the weight of the kingdom on his shoulders, and the weight of literally everybody in his family on his shoulders. So he's very serious. He's very responsible. He feels responsible for everybody, including his younger brother. In seeing Layla get this death sentence from his father, he decides he's going to save her life by saying that they are engaged. That you can't kill her because that is my fiance. And so everybody's like, what? A secret engagement? And so he saves her life. But in doing so, they have to get married. Layla is a little bit upset because now she's being forced into a marriage with the brother that she didn't have feelings for. But as these two pretend more and more that they are together, trying to make it convincing to everybody else, she does end up getting feelings for him, and he ends up getting feelings for her. And I just loved how these two opened up to each other. I specifically really enjoyed Connor and how selfless he was and how willing he was to do things for the people that he loved. Anyways, I really enjoyed it. I will probably eventually be reading more from this author. Now the last one on the list, and I just talked about this in my last video because it was part of my wrap up, and I think that's another reason I'm kind of doing this, is because I finally found one that was worthy of this top 5 list. And that is The Orc and the Innkeeper, which is in the Elderberry Falls series by Cora Crane. And this is such a cute romance. So you have this human who owns an inn in Fantasyland, in fairy tale land. Like, there's all these fairy tale creatures and they're all kind of living amongst each other. And she is a human in a place where there's not a lot of humans, and she owns this little inn, and she works really hard. And one day she finds out she has like an infestation of sparkles. I can't remember what they're called. It's like pixie mites or something like that. And it's basically just sparkles, and they spread and spread and spread, and you have to get them exterminated, and it's gonna cost her a lot of money that she doesn't have because she's just a little business owner or a little innkeeper or whatever. And on the day that she finds out that she has to spend all this money eradicating these pests, she sees an orc walk into her inn to have a meeting with a human who is staying at her inn. And this meeting is over this orc trying to expand his mead making business into human territories, like to grow his already very successful business. This orc, who happens to be very sexy, went to high school with our girl Mariah. In high school, he used to make fun of her a lot, and not just make fun of her, he like straight up bullied her, so she does not like him. And she thinks that he does not like her either. So when she sees him, she's like, ugh, Thorak, I hate him. He's having this meeting with the human, and she kind of overhears this human kind of being standoffish because he's like, do you have any humans working for you? Because that makes a difference. And the orc just kind of says, I have a wife, and she's human. And she has a lot to do with my business, and she makes a lot of my decisions. The guy he's talking to is like, oh, interesting, very interested now that you said you have a wife that is human. And our girl Mariah is like, him have a human wife when he literally made my life a living hell in high school because I was human? So she knows it's all a lie. But she also knows that Thorak, is very rich because, like I said, his business is already kind of booming. It's a family business, been around a long time, it has a lot of money. So she's like, I'm gonna go pretend I'm his wife, get him this deal, or help him get this deal, and then he's gonna give me $20,000 to fix this pixie mite sparkle problem in my inn. So they start a fake relationship to benefit each other. And this fake relationship quickly turns into something more. If you enjoy groveling, this book is full of it because our guy Thorak is very regretful of the way he treated her in high school. And yeah, I'm not usually into orc romance, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and the fake relationship was... That is all I have for you guys today. Again, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I am trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. I went up quite quickly because one of my shorts went a little bit viral. So I am hoping that some of that traffic comes to my actual YouTube videos. If you have any suggestions for books that I should read, put them in the comments below, especially if you are an indie author. I'm always on the lookout for more indie authors to support on this channel. And until next time, happy reading. I will see you all later. Bye!